Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tuesday, November 20th, 2018 school committee meeting located here at Tyngsborough High School. I officially call this meeting to order. I will start with introductions.
Sharon Fairbanks.
Robert Mullen.
Good evening, Julie Gustucci.
Good evening, Mark Branco, Assistant Superintendent.
Hi, Mike Flanagan, Superintendent.
Anthony Tenero.
Ryan McMahon.
Paul Mitchell.
Amy Pazurski.
Joe Messina, Business Administrator.
Sophia Campbell, Student Representative.
Thank you. If I could ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. If I could get a motion to approve the October 16, 2018 school committee meeting minutes and the October 15th and 24th negotiation subcommittee meetings.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0-0. Correspondence, that's fun.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to notify the committee. I did receive a call this afternoon from Diane Sullivan, who is one of the senior directors for the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or MSBA. And she just did a follow-up phone call to let me know the timeline that's coming down the pike with MSBA decision-making. On December 12th, the MSBA will make their final decisions regarding core projects for next year. So we have another 2.5-3 weeks here to wait before we know. And she asked some follow-up questions regarding her senior study visit. It was a great phone call. We had a very nice conversation. And she just wanted to let us know that certainly by December 12th, we will know one way or the other whether or not we've been invited to participate in the core process. So, that's where we are with MSBA.
Thank you.
Great.
Let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
Visitors, comments, and questions? Seeing none. Share the success.
Congratulations to the November Students of the Month, Taylor Haypenny, Peter Lamb, Jenna Collins, and Haley Altenweg. In October, NHS volunteered at the Lighthouse School for their annual Halloween field trip. And several students were able to go to Lowell General last week to experience what it would be like working in a hospital. Also last week, a group of student athletes were able to participate in the annual MIAA Sportsmanship Summit at Gillette Stadium, and they took the new bus that we have, which is kind of cool. The high school student council held their second annual Turkey a Teacher fundraiser to help support Adopt a Family, and tomorrow to help celebrate Thanksgiving, the 8th grade is hosting a Thanksgiving feast. And that is all.
Very good. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to take items 9E and 9D out of order.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0-0.
So, Mr. Chair, 90, we have Mr. Ogden here, and I see some happy people that just got back from an incredible trip to Florida to give kids the world. And I asked Mr. Ogden to come tonight and kind of tell us about their experience and, not spend too much time, but show some pictures and really highlight the trip. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Ogden at this point.
So thank you for having us this evening. We just got back, as Dr. Flanagan said a week ago. I had the privilege to take 20 students down to Give Kids the World in Florida. I'm joined tonight by Taylor Haypenny, Jen Murphy, and Sarah Anselmo, and they're going to kind of take it over from here. But what I just wanted to say at first is I am beyond proud, and the school and the community should be beyond proud of how this group represented us down there. So many compliments from staff there, other volunteers, as well as families. So they're really just proud, and I'm happy to share this with you tonight. So, Jen?
So Give Kids the World is a non-profit organization. They work with Make-A-Wish to grant kids with terminal illnesses, like if they want to meet Mickey or meet Elsa, they can provide them and their families tickets to those parks. While we were there, we had morning and night shifts, and our shifts ranged from scooping ice cream to operating rides to working in the kitchen, or even doing hair and makeup at the spa. It was really nice because we got to see all the kids and their families smile and just forget about what's really going on. And they were all very appreciative too of all the volunteers, because the village is run on 80% of volunteers, and they have like 1,500, I think over 1,500 shifts per week. Which is really, so it was nice. It was a really good days.
Taylor's gonna kind of share her favorite moment as well.
So my favorite moment was actually our last shift at the kitchen, where a lot of us were bussing tables, and a family came over to us, and it had been the day that their child got to make their wish and meet Elsa, but they decided that they wanted to also get a picture with all of us in our bussing aprons and like all this like plates and everything. And that was like a really special moment because it really like showed us like the impact that we had on families, that it was like even comparable to take a picture with Elsa and with us.
In total, so each student put in about 20 to 30 hours total for that week. So it was a great opportunity, and we thank you for allowing us to do that, for being able to do that.
We have to hear from Sarah, she's at the table.
I was reluctant, so I was trying to get it out there.
Don't put me on the spot, Sarah.
Yeah.
One memory.
My favorite moment from the trip was there was this little boy. There's an activity that they do there where there's a little video of a bunny who tells them different things that they have to do in order to earn this pillow that they get to take home. And one of the things that the bunny told the boy to do was give someone they love a hug. And the boy immediately turned to me and gave me a hug. And it just, it like filled my heart with so much like love, because it showed that even though he was obviously suffering from something that caused him to be able to go, but it didn't matter because he just was filled with so much love.
It's a great story. Yes, I've seen her impression make free throws.
Maybe she could do
And
it.
like I said, the group's awesome. I walked out of a shift one night, and this was towards the end of the week, and the whole group had been in the caf that day, in the kitchen area that day. And as we walked out, I come over, and I think 13 out of 20 in the group are having a dance party in the middle of the village with these two little girls they made a connection with. Our shift's over. They were waiting on me and a couple other people, but they weren't done making an impact, so it was pretty great.
All right, so Kelsey, what was your favorite memory?
My favorite memory, I was talking to a 9-year-old kid in a wheelchair, and he was diagnosed with leukemia 2 years prior to him going on this trip. And his father was asking me why I decided to go on that trip. And I talked to him about my friend who was diagnosed with lymphoma this year. And so he told me his process and his treatment, and I told him about my friend's treatment. And it was just really cool for him to open up to me and then him ask my perspective. So that's probably my favorite part.
That's awesome. And Mr. Ryden, there's plans for
To go, yeah.
this trip to continue?
Yes, we'll look to continue to do it yearly. It's a little tricky planning it because you can only plan it 6 months out, and you have to do it around when you can get enough hours to volunteer. So we work around that the best we can. But girls would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Yes, I will open it up to the group.
Well, I don't have any questions, but I wanted to thank you all very much for representing the school and the town so well. It's, we do a lot of work to make sure that that you have what you need to be able to do what you want to do educational-wise here in town. But this makes it all worth it for us to see the results from it. So thank you.
My daughter went on this trip a few years ago, and I was telling her tonight that you would be here this evening presenting, and she was rattling off memories that she had when she went on this trip. So it is memories that you're going to keep with you. I think it's important to say that we even have we have children from Tyngsborough that go on these Make-A-Wish trips. We have one right now on a Make-A-Wish trip, actually, from Tyngsborough. So it's important that we volunteer. And this isn't just a school volunteer thing either. If you go on vacation to Florida, you and your family can volunteer to work at these places. So it's a great thing, and I hope we continue to do it. And the more kids we can get to do it, I think it's important. It is. So thank you all for going.
I just want to say, my daughter went on the trip last year, and then we had to go as a family because she liked it so much. And then my other daughter wants to go in a couple of years, so it's been a big thing to our family, and it's just a really great opportunity that the school was able to give me and then pass on to our family too. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that, you're in Tyngsborough in the school and the community, and you went out to participate in something new and different. And as you grow and go to college and get out in life, don't be scared to participate in something like this or other things similar as you get older. Because you won't have the friendship and the camaraderie, but you have the experience now of doing something like this. So continue it. Keep on. And it doesn't, volunteering is fun, but other things too, where in your professional life, things along that line. Participate in things. Keep it up. Thank you.
Great advice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys very much for coming out. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Every time.
Well done, too. Good
yes,
job.
good job.
Nice job.
Drive careful going home.
Mr. Augie, you're not allowed to leave just yet.
No, not yet.
Not at the hot seat.
So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Augie is also going to present our annual New York City field trip.
Field trip, yes.
So Mr. Ayers and Ms. Martin are once again looking for approval to take a group of students to New York City for a weekend. They'll be exploring the city as well as attending a show. There'll be 4 chaperones going, and there's approximately 45 students that are interested, and the total cost of the trip is $400. Travel dates are 12/14 and 12/15.
What show are they seeing? This is an annual trip we do every year. I think it's
Yeah, this is probably the 10th year we've done this. They're going to see Wicked again this year.
Wicked again this year.
Excellent. Could I get a motion to approve the trip?
Make that motion.
Second. Any further conversation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0. I think these field trips are a big part of what we provide. And I think the more we can do, the better. I think it helps bring kids who aren't necessarily in the same cliques together, and I think it really helps. So thank everyone for doing this.
It gets them out to see something different besides.
Correct. Yes. So, thank you, Mr. Roger.
Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
And to you. Drive safe going home. Alrighty. Student service update.
Want to go back to subcommittees?
Well, all right.
Oh,
Yes.
She does want to.
She's here for the night.
Oh.
She's here for the night.
Just gonna get her off the hook.
Back to subcommittees. I tried. I tried. After Flanagan said no.
No, you're stuck.
Capital asset. Mr. Long.
Okay, we had our first meeting this evening. We're joined by Ryan Guthrie, going over the list of needs that we believe we're going to focus on for this year, as well as items for the future. I believe that we are going to be focusing this year on our district-wide phone system, and in conjunction with that, a fire panel here in this building. And the other major item will be the roof for the elementary school, which is in horrible condition. All 3 of those items are definitely safety issues that we believe are very important. We'll also be looking, of course, with the success of the installation of our new field, to upgrade the track and widen it this year. So we'll go begging hat in hand, see what we can get.
Excellent. We talked about possibly a second bus.
We did with the, I would say we're probably gonna have to put that off possibly another year. At this point, want to see what's going to happen with finding the money for that roof. I think these items are a little bit more important at this point.
I think we also want to run a full year on that one bus to see if we have a situation where we're double booked. Right now, we're unfortunately, we haven't double booked that bus yet. We're maximizing it, that's for sure. But we haven't had any overlap yet, so that's a good thing right now. Bruce, as it's been aptly named by some of the students, I believe, Mr. Messina, the bus is called Bruce for some reason.
That was the name of the shark in Jaws.
Yeah.
The mechanical shark, right?
Yeah.
Now, are we tracking
That's a great name.
what we're saving?
We are.
As of Sunday, $6,900, just in use from October, November.
Just one season.
Nice.
And you get an event like Sophie had Sunday where a trip out to Westfield for a full day meet at $4 a mile and $55 an hour wait time, you really start to see the savings when, Sophie, I'm not sure how many were actually on the trip with you.
Yeah, not too many.
Yeah, right.
So.
Right.
You're in a bus spending $1,400 as opposed to your own vehicle, it's just the gas and the tolls to get them out there.
Well, we also talked about the MIA trip that the students went on last week, and I think 10 or 12 kids are able to go as opposed to 3 that can fit in one car. So, we're broadening experiences for kids and providing more kids great experiences, which is huge, so.
Excellent. Anything else on capital asset?
No, that's it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Policy.
The policy subcommittee met tonight, and we looked at 6 policies. They were all in your Dropbox, and 4 of them were reaffirming. There's no changes, and that's 2.1, evacuation of building for drills. 2.4, use of fields under joint jurisdiction of school recreational departments. Sorry, I didn't bring my glasses. 2.6, recycling, and much better. 9.16, medical emergency response plan. So those are just reaffirms. There's no changes on those policies.
So I'd like to make a motion to reaffirm those policies.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0.
Awesome. And then 2 other policies we looked at, and there's some changes that we need to make. Number 1.2, school committee meeting procedures. We just need to make some update changes to that policy. So it'll come back next week for a first read. And then policy 2.3, use of facilities. We have to add the form to it. So that will come back next week for first read also. So that's it. And you can have your glasses.
Just a side note on policy 2.4, the field use is a field use committee that we're supposed to assign a representative to, and that was George Giacchis. So we should put it on the next meeting agenda to assign.
Yeah, I think we'll assign Mrs. Palumbo to that.
Ms. Palumbo?
Yeah. It's really, it's about the schedule of the fields, and that's no problem for her.
And then every odd year, we assign the at-large representatives. So I think it was Eric Estoshin.
It has been in the past, yes.
I don't think he's.
I
don't think he's in
can
town.
I'm right, I don't think he's in town anymore.
Yeah. So we just need to.
We need to find somebody.
Talk to.
Member at large.
Maybe Mr. Guthrie. His first one, we didn't figure it out.
There you go. Alright, so those will be on our next agenda. Alright, personnel.
We have 2 requests for maternity leave, Ms. Flaherty and Ms. Schooley. Those have been approved. And we have 1 resignation, .25 custodian here at the high school, John McCaffrey.
Unfinished business.
Just quickly, we assigned people as alternates to, from what we heard back from the committee. They are stated above, and that's what we received. I think we're okay. I think we're in good shape in terms of alternates moving forward. Feel confident with where we are at this point.
Could I get a motion to, is everybody all right with what they've been assigned to as an alternate?
Yes.
Any questions? There was a question also as to what alternates are able to do. In fact, I was at a another town board meeting on whether or not an alternate can actually speak at a town meeting. And they can. So if, and what I don't know is, do we want the alternates to go to any of these meetings on a regular basis, or just in the event that somebody can't make it, just so an alternate is up to speed on what these committees are talking about, discussing, so if they do have to sit in, they have some knowledge as
I would
to,
say that they're all open meetings, so the alternate doesn't need permission
to show up,
show up.
correct.
So,
But to have input or to be a voting member if somebody's not there. So, you can go to any of them.
Do they need to be there? I mean, do they have to be there if the person's not there, or is it just an option?
it's an option.
It's an option. Yeah.
Okay. Because I know sometimes we have the committees meeting at the same time, so it gets a little dicey.
Right.
Right.
But, all right, well, could I get a motion to approve the fiscal year 19 alternate members to the subcommittee?
Make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0. January school committee calendar adjustment.
So, Mr. Chair, as you know, we come back from winter break on Tuesday, January 1st. So I think it's logical, given the budget, the calendar, and our budget development season, that we move the meeting from the 1st and 3rd Tuesday to the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of January. So that would be the 8th and the 22nd. Line's better for our budget development process, and I just think it's more logical this time.
Any further discussion on that? Could I get a motion to move the meetings?
Make a motion to move the meetings to January 8th and 22nd.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0. New business. Tyngsborough Middle School baseball team
So,
proposal.
Mr. Chair, you'll find in your drive a proposal from, the catalyst behind the proposal is actually a group of 6th grade boys who are interested in participating or having a middle school baseball team. As you know, we have a middle school softball team. We do not have a middle school baseball team. My understanding is there's a gap now for boys in this town, grades 6 and 7, that really don't have a place to play baseball. So the goal would be to create this middle school team so that the kids would have an outlet. Looking at, in conversation with Ms. Paloma, she's all for it. Certainly Ken Carney, our varsity baseball coach, as well, is highly supportive of it. In terms, I asked Ms. Paloma to kind of do a proposal and show us the numbers, because really that's what we want to see, the finances behind what this would look like. So this spreadsheet, Mr. Messina and I kind of went through it, invented it a little bit, and we believe that with the user fee and the number of students that are going to play baseball, about 15, if we were to put a $1,200 fundraising responsibility on the parents or anyone interested in supporting this program, we could do this middle school baseball team for about $125. Now, the reason I bring up the parent fundraising is because historically, that's what we've done in this town. I was the first lacrosse coach in Tyngsborough in 2000, and there was an obligation of the parents, because it wasn't budgeted for, that they had to come up with some kind of fundraising responsibility to defer the cost of the new program so it didn't impact the already approved budget. Same thing with swimming, there was always a fee. Hockey, there was always a fee. So as these programs came on, there was always an additional fee that went along with the user fee to offset the cost until the committee could fully absorb the program. So that being said, consistent with what we've done, if we put it on the parents that there's $1,200 responsibility for you through fundraising, if you weren't able to meet that goal, you came up at $600, then that other $600 will be divided out over the 15 players as a participation fee. That's historically what we've done. I proposed it that way to be consistent. Again, it's a decision of the committee, whichever way we go. But for potentially $125 or so to offer these kids, these 15 kids, a place to play, it's important that there's no transportation costs, because there's a league that our middle school softball already plays in. The baseball team will be in the same league and be on the same bus, so transportation costs will already be covered. So these are all contractual rates. And basically, we took our middle school softball program and mirrored that for a middle school baseball program, and that's how we arrived at these numbers. So, Ms. Palumbo is someone looking for approval to move forward with this. You can see by the numbers interested, there would absolutely be cuts. You can't have 34 kids on a baseball team. But I think it's a good thing for our kids, particularly given that there's a gap in the community and they don't have an option. So, open up to any questions. Or
So this is just for 6th and 7th graders?
correct. 8th graders play up right now with the high school. And we continue to need those 8th graders for the JV program.
So is there an opportunity for the 34 that are interested to practice with
Have them all practice.
the team?
So you could look at that. I don't know what that would look like from a user fee component.
Or coaching.
or a coaching
I mean,
component.
from a safety standpoint and coaching, you're talking about.
That's my only concern, is that there's 34 kids that want to do something. I understand it's difficult for a baseball team, but
Yeah.
is there a way we can look at that?
So again, so that's a cafeteria poll. That's not a hard number. So
But that's my point.
you should see what the hard number is. I don't know what the hard number is, but
Once they,
what would we do if it was 25 kids? If it were 25 kids, what would we do?
Well, if it was 34 kids, could we put 2 teams together?
Probably not, because now you're talking about a bus.
Yeah, another
It's a whole other stipend.
coach.
It's a whole
Right,
other.
yeah.
that's my only concern, is to open it up to everybody who wants it in some way to do it. I know that, we do that with JV teams and that type of thing, but.
So the other option we could do, and again, maybe some of these 6th graders, and again, I wish I had more information on this, but maybe it becomes a 7th grade team if 6th graders can still play in town. Ryan, do you know the answer to that? I think it's a birthday thing, so I don't know exactly where the cut is.
So 6th grade, you're 11? You can still, yeah, you can still play.
May 1st birthday, it depends if you're in.
I mean, we still have teams in town baseball. We have teams all
So
the way
maybe
through.
it's a 7th grade team that we're looking at.
We have Babe Ruth teams, so you can play through 13 in town. But you get fewer teams, and it's the better kids who end up making it. So if you're not a great player, you're not going to end up on one of those teams. This is probably the issue.
So I'd go forward with this, just with the stipulation that we try and do everything possible that anybody who wants to participate gets the opportunity
Sure.
to. Whether it's, not paying the user fee, but
Bring out the practice.
practice.
That's a good solution, yeah.
Our numbers are down in baseball this age range, so I'm kind of surprised.
So why don't we go a little bit deeper and get some parent involvement, have a parent night, see who wants to come out and really see what the interest is and engage in that sense. But, if the committee's supportive of it, we'll go forward cautiously, knowing that we want to do the best we can for all the kids possible.
I'll make a motion to support the establishment of a middle school baseball team.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0-0.
So I will have Ms. Palumbo come back in probably February with some more data and some more information.
And their home games would be played on our field here at the high school?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
The release of the approved executive session minutes, July 2017 through June of 2018. I need a motion to release the council approved executive session minutes from that time frame of July 2017 through June of 2018.
Make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion?
So the council has reviewed all these minutes. And
There are 3 redacted copies in your drive, and that's all that was redacted, so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0-0. Student service update. There she is.
Fine.
So, Mr. Chair, Mrs. Lorenzik, I know, finally. She's going to provide an overview of student services and let you know all the good things that are happening. The year's been off to a great start, and kind of give you an idea of where we're going and things to think about as we consider our budget development process moving forward.
Thank you for coming out this evening.
Thanks for allowing me to take some time this evening to provide some updates regarding the Student Services Department. As you know, Student Services oversees a number of different components within the district. I'll be focusing for tonight's presentation within the school counseling, nursing, and special education realm. And I'll begin with the school counseling, and oddly enough, we'll go with the middle school. Nobody starts with the middle school, so I think I'll do that purposely tonight. So that's not out of order on your slides as you're looking up. As we move into year 2 of a reconfigured staffing model, which included a second full-time counselor at the middle school, I'm proud to report that we continue to increase and improve upon the programming at all levels with the intent of meeting the social emotional needs of our students across district, but really with a nice focus at this point within the middle school with that additional counseling staff. Both Danielle Samatelli as well as Melissa Malous have done a fantastic job really working with all of our students at this point within the middle school, and most specifically with our 6th grade group as they transition from 5 to 6. And that's always a focus in which I think we try to improve upon each year. And with having Danielle coming on board, the 2 counselors can be meeting more individually with students, as well as expanding upon the Naviance curriculum that we've really established at the high school level, and now has taken on more of a comprehensive look at the middle school, where students are able to really fall within that social emotional domain, doing a lot of work within classroom education there, as well as goal setting, and just knowing your supports within a day, who you can sort of count on, and really working through that format as well. The middle school also continues to work through their student support team, which is set with the counselors as well as nursing staff and school administration, where they're really proactively looking at student concerns and then setting realistic timelines on how to work with those students to make sure that the supports and emotional supports most of the time are put in place to really make sure that that student is meeting, or those students are meeting with progress moving forward. And it's important to note, especially at the middle school, the emotional needs are something that we are truly seeing, across the board. And I think at some point it might be important to bring to the committee more of that information, just to have an understanding of really the debilitating anxiety that some of our students are facing day in and day out, and that the counseling office is a revolving door. So this additional staff has really been a tremendous asset. At the high school, our counselors, Jamie Gustafson and Lisa Ward, are working through the transition of Kate Trainer, who was recently appointed as the full-time administrator here at the high school after the budget decision to not rehire for that position. The 2 are working diligently delivering Naviance program as part of the classroom education and as part of the advisory program Tiger Talk. So that's something that's been new over the course of this year. That Naviance we've had as programmatic within classroom education, within the counseling office, but now teachers across the board are also delivering that type of curriculum to students. So it's branching itself out, again, becoming much more comprehensive. And some of the lesson plans that you see listed there continue with that setting of goals, as well as college and career readiness. As an up to speed in regard to the application process, students are well underway at this point, and a number of students, over 40%, have applied early action, and others are looking at early decision, which is that binding decision, and regular decision moving forward. I lastly bulleted another curriculum piece that's begun this year, and this is our Signs of Suicide curriculum. This is being presented each trimester within the wellness class and done in tandem with the classroom, with the wellness teacher, which has been a nice mix between the 2, the counselor and the teacher themselves. The curriculum really lends itself to providing tools to help students with identifying the signs and the symptoms of depression, suicide, and self-injury. So important topics, challenging topics to have, but I think ones in which we need to have here at the building base, and then hopefully, the supports at home also continue as well. As we look at the elementary school, we're fortunate to have 3 school counselors working with this youngest population: Christy Manganis, Carolyn Reichart, and Nicole Young. The counselors play a vital role in providing counseling lessons within day-to-day, helping to facilitate the stripes assemblies, and I know that's something that the administrative team works with together with them, but really rely on their expertise and knowledge in this area, as well as providing support and counseling to our students individually and within a small group setting when needed and necessary. It's also important to note that that group, meaning those 3 counselors, are in and out of our classroom supporting staff as well as providing professional development on our early release days and during some of those staff meetings that we have at the end of the day. And a couple of those are presented here on in a bulleted format with a 504 process, which is challenging. And every year, staff ask for those updates, and rightfully so. The counselors have really taken that on at the elementary school, as well as a new presentation which is going to be specific to having challenging conversations with parents. And this really comes at the time frame of some of the parent meetings that we'll be having and helping teachers along that process. The last bullet is similar to what Norris Road campus holds, which is, again, that student support team. It's called SWAT at our elementary level, but takes on that similar proactive approach, really helping students, specific socially, emotionally, but also within any challenges or concerns that might be present. As we shift our focus to nursing, I would like to thank the committee. Your advocacy and support going into this school year with the addition of a .5 nurse, Kristen Erickson, has been tremendous. She has transitioned into this role with ease, and at this point it has truly become something that I can't imagine how we did without. I know our nurses are more than appreciative at this point. In terms of highlights, just to kind of hit on a few, she has oriented to all the buildings, so able to kind of come in and out as needed and necessary, which has been seamless to the process. Has become comfortable with SNAP, which is our electronic health record, which really provides the documentation, the physical examinations, immunization records, that nursing keeps, so that everything can be done more seamlessly electronically versus the old paper copy, in which people have really been trying to get away from. And this district has certainly been trying and moving mountains to do that. Her additional efforts has really helped to push that through. She's been able to assist with annual mandated screenings and, again, becoming very comfortable in our buildings with the other nurses, which has been great to see. She's also providing nursing coverage so that our nurses at times can, leave their school, pick up on some professional development that's absolutely necessary to bring back to the other nurses. She also might be looking at field trips in the future. As you're aware, the job of the school nurse has evolved with unique needs, and we have many. We have medically fragile students. We have typical students that, day in and day out, we've talked, I think I hit the theme of social emotional a lot tonight, but they really are, finding themselves in a pattern in which they need a lot of support systems, and the nurses are one of the critical aspects of that. Not only do the nurses help students individually and within those small groups, but they're also part of building a rapport with the administrative team, the teachers that they work day in and day out with, and most importantly, those families that they communicate so readily with. In addition, following the retirement of Sherry Dunbar, we were able to solidify the nursing model at the elementary school in a way that we believe will best meet the needs of the current staff. Sarah Eisenberger and Jennifer Spanos have transitioned seamlessly into these roles at the elementary school. They collaborate, they're able to create a cohesive model that truly creates support for the community as a whole. And I think if you're a parent who's, at this point interacted with them, you will know exactly what that means. Overall, I would like to commend our nursing staff for their consistent professionalism and high quality of care across this district. We're going to spend the next few minutes talking about special education, and these slides will look different and different purposefully because I really wanted to highlight what we're seeing as a true need, and I had used slides like this previously and I think captured in a better way what I really need the committee and community to understand in terms of what's happening with special education. The first slide up is our high school level of need, and just to kind of orient you to the slide a bit, when you're looking at the level of need to the far left, you'll see that There's a low, moderate, and high level that's categorized there. When you think about that low level of need, this is really the student that's outside the general ed classroom, but less than 21% of the day. So by and large, they're in an inclusive general education setting, receiving support only out of the classroom, less than that 21% of the day. The moderate level of need is what you'd consider that partial inclusion. That's when students are outside the general education classroom from 21 to 60% of the classroom day. So again, just giving you a sense of going from that low to moderate, and then the last level of high level need, which is our substantially separate classroom programs. And this is where students come outside of the general education classroom for more than 60% of the time. And just to kind of give you a little bit more of a sort of forecast of that, all of our out-of-district students would also fall into this high-level category need. So just to be able to give you some sense there. So that's just kind of reading down the level of need that I'll be talking a bit about. When you shift down over to related services, you'll see that there's grid B and grid C represented. That's based on our service delivery. So when students are represented here underneath grid B services, they're receiving those services inside the classroom setting, where the grid C services is a pullout. So that's where individual services would be happening outside of the classroom setting. So I just think it's important to highlight a couple things as I look at this slide. Out of the 52 or 11% of students, only 3, which is 6% of the 52 students, are at a low level of need here at the high school. And I'm pointing this out because the flip side of that is 94% or 59 of these students have high or moderate levels of need, which involve, but are not limited to, a number of things, including classroom accommodations, program changes, paraprofessional support, as well as related services, all of which have a cost attached to them. So that's what I really want to capture for you tonight. If we look to the middle school, as well as the elementary school, we'll really see a similar pattern within those two schools when it comes to looking at the level of need, as well as the related services and the astronomical services that are happening within that grid C. And I've put that in your drive, so you'll be able to see that more clearly as you have an opportunity to really kind of look at that data. It is set up in a similar template, so that you'll be able to really kind of dive into the data. And certainly if you have questions, please let me know. But the big takeaway here between all of these, because they are similar, is that across this district, the majority of our students present with a moderate or high level of need, and that our related services represent a significant portion of that day. And again, just to kind of highlight that average of 30 to 90 minutes per day of services outside of the classroom setting is significant. And that these services and level of need really come at a significant cost. And that's what I really want to make sure is understood as we're having this conversation this evening. In closing, I'd like to talk a bit about the unpredictability of the special education budget. And as you start thinking about, that unpredictability, out-of-district placements is certainly one of the highlights. We are always, as a team and as a district, looking at the least restrictive environment to meet the needs of all of our students here. And where we can keep them right here at the elementary school, the middle and high school, is absolutely what we would want to be doing. But there are times where a student requires more, and we do need to look at out-of-district placements. And as you already know, there are different types of placements for different students and their needs, and those are public, private, and residential. Public being our collaborative settings that run close to 181 to 190 days, to residential settings that look more closely at a 365-day program in terms of tuition. So just for you to have an understanding of where that goes from least restrictive to most restrictive, I think it's important just to highlight tonight. In addition, when we're talking about those out-of-district tuitions, it really is an absolute 100% focus on need first. We are not looking at what program until we look at the need of the student, Then we look at the program and what's most appropriate and what we could be doing, and then that tuition is set. So that comes at the very last point. It's not a part of the team decision at all. The team meets to talk about the student and what they need in order to meet educationally in the way in which we're expecting every day, and to meet with the progress that we are hoping that they individually can do. These decisions and discussions are extremely challenging and difficult, especially at our lower elementary levels. I would be remiss if I did not really sort of highlight the special educators, the related service providers, and the paraprofessionals who do a tremendous job working with these students every single day, as well as our facilitators at the middle school and the high school, who are making sure that programming is delivered and intact so that the process can play out the way it needs to for all of our families. So I wanted to make sure to just give you a bit more of a highlight there.
So if I could jump in at this point, Mr. Lindsay. So we heard from least restrictive environment all the way up to residential, 181 days to 365 days. I asked Mrs. Lindsay to put this next slide in for myself so that Joe and I could really speak to this. As you know, if you look at our budget, in our budget book, we have out-of-district public, out-of-district private. So I combine the two numbers. From FY16 to FY19, the number of out-of-district placement students in this district has ranged from 19 to 22.
Correct.
Anywhere in that range. You'll see the growth in the budget. Now, some of that is mandated by the state. So, Sarah, can you speak to those?
About just the
OSD?
tuition itself?
Yes.
Yeah. So tuition rates are set by the state, and when we're looking at tuition costs, that's not something that we would be looking to factor in. What does become unpredictable is if we're looking at Valley Collaborative, for instance, we're talking about potential $40,000 tuition. If all of a sudden the need of that student needs a one-to-one to go along with that out-of-district setting, then we might be closer to a $70,000 difference. And that's still for that same public education, but the need of having a one-to-one in that scenario will present as a higher tuition number. And that's similar in our private or residential setting as well. Mike, similar to what you just said, you know, when it comes to our out-of-district tuitions, they have remained relatively balanced at this point, but it's the level of need that is the unpredictable factor. So we could have 20 students in FY18 and 20 students in FY19. That level of need could shift and really create a more fluid and volatile tuition based on the placement. So I think that's what I really want, you know, you to understand as a committee, that the number is not changing astronomically, the need of students are.
And that's why I draw your attention to the bottom two numbers on this slide. As we start thinking about, and we start to look forward to our budget development, you know, you can see that we budgeted $1.4 million this year, and if things track the way they're going to track right now, we're going to be spending close to $1.78 million. You know, and historically, when we develop a budget in January, we don't put placeholders in. We budget exactly who we project where they are. We're not going to say, you know what, throw an out-of-district tuition in there. Throw a Valley Collaborative. We don't do that. That's indefensible. It's irresponsible. We budget what we have, what we know at that time. So, given the information we had entering this year, 1.455 was the right number. Given the needs of our kids, 1.782 was the right number. Good, bad, or indifferent, the number's gone up based on the level of need of our students. So we just need to be cognizant of that as we go down the road.
Well, that's what I wanted to sort of get into a little bit, is the level of need. And who determines that level of need? And I'll go based on my experience, because I had a daughter that went through the Tyngsborough school systems, was blind. So she started at Tyngsborough, she was in preschool, pre-K, because the state said that she was allowed to have services because of her disability. And the Tyngsborough school system probably knew of her coming in, but that started there. And as she progressed through the system, the level of need changed. And it wasn't the school telling me the level of need. It was me, the team, I think you called it, is the physician, the parents, the school, and then the service providers is as she aged, she needed mobility services to be able to get around in schools and how to use a cane and all these things that she was taught. So the level of need is not determined by the school.
Right.
The school, advises, this is what we can do, this is, gives the advice and consent and tries to find the best option for the student and the district. But it's that group that comes in and says,
You absolutely nailed it on the head. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to, but you're absolutely right. It's not one person making the decision. It's not Mrs. Lorenzi making the decision. There are advocates involved. There are attorneys involved.
That's what I want to
doctors.
get to understand when you say the fiscal 19 projected budget went up 326,000. It's because in September, a situation came up that said that this team came in and said, this is what the need is. So that's the school's requirement under Mass General Law to provide that need. And that's, I think, what needs to be clarified. It's not the school saying, well, we have the student we'd like to do this for.
That's right.
We would like to do it, but
On the side, by the school in isolation of anyone.
So can you do an overview of the team process, how it comes about?
Well, when we're looking at team, and if you're sitting before an annual review, the student will begin with progress, and teachers will give an understanding of what's happened over the course of that goal period. New goals will be established based on the needs of the student. The disability will be discussed. And then based on that level of need defined by the team,